Welcome to Embrace the Awkward podcast, where our goal is to help you handle awkward better. I'm Mike. This is Kyle. Kyle, how are things going?
Man, this is great. New season, new things, everything. New co-host, and a new backdrop. What is that backdrop behind your head?
Yeah, this is Luke Combs. So I'm a real American, as you can tell. I got Luke Combs
Clearly.
playing a guitar on an American flag. You
You're
know,
you could tell you're from the Midwest, man, for
yeah.
sure.
Somebody told me that before I got that my podcast room looked like when the Grinch stole Christmas and there was nothing left in the room. I don't remember who that
I don't know
was, but
who said
you
that.
might know him.
We're just gonna
And
be
so
honest.
just a quick little story is we have a kind of a bin store in our town,
Okay.
and I bought a $20 mystery box so
Oh,
it'd be, I mean, dude, top to
yeah.
bottom, most random thing I've ever gotten. And first thing I opened up, I was like, man, it's an American flag. I was like, that's cool, like, yeah, it's an American flag. I open it up and it's Luke Combs, and I'm like, I know exactly where that's going, and here he is.
Yeah, and I like how you
So
kept the lights up. You just added the flag.
yeah, the lights are staying up. We gotta.
Yeah.
Uh,
All I got is a t-shirt quilt behind me, but I didn't do that. I had that was a gift. But yeah, these are all the
it's a nice one.
t-shirts. This is only 8 years worth of t-shirts. That's it. I could do a whole nother quilt of all the t-shirts I get for free.
I respect that. That's nice.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, we have a brand new season, and that means a new co-host. So this is Mike, sometimes called Big Mike, right?
Yeah, you'll
And
probably hear both at some point.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm Kyle. We're kind of back again. We're relaunching this Embrace the Awkward Podcast 2.0, if you will. And we're going to be kind of diving into some really cool things. But don't forget, we're updating our social media account now that we're back at the ETA Podcast, And we'll do social media, websites. We might even get into some merch. All right. So, if you had unlimited funds, Mike, what merch would like this would be really fun that other companies don't necessarily do? Like, what strange, weird merch that you would get?
Some of my favorite, I will say, is the fanny packs.
Yes,
You'll never catch me wearing it.
yes,
Every time we get around camp season, I look at some of the ones that I've been given through many different
right.
organizations or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is the year,
Okay,
and it
that
never
we're doing
is.
it.
But I
We're
think it's a
doing
great
it.
idea. That, and
We'll,
of course, socks. Socks
yeah,
are
we'll do the Mike approved fanny pack, and I want
yeah.
you to have a thumbs up on it, and I'll
You can have
write
two.
right on my fanny.
You can have two. I'll if I had three thumbs, totally do. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
more things to come.
we have to find that company to make it. All right. So that'll be our next project, people. If we can find
Yep.
the Mike approved fanny pack for Embrace the Awkward podcast, that'll be awesome.
Let us know if you have somebody. Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll reach out ASAP.
And we're also now on YouTube. So we're both
Mhm.
audio and visual. We're in the 21st century now, I guess. So we're
Yeah,
pretty excited for that. And you can see our faces. We have a new
views
logo.
are going down. Viewers are.
Yeah, there you go with this blur out. We have a new logo, and so I sent Mike our new logo. And now I am not a graphic design person, but I know how to use AI. So I said, okay, take my face and turn it into like a cartoon. So the first thing that Mike sends to me after I sent him, what do you think of this new logo with both of our faces on it? He says we got a Santa Claus vibe going on,
Yep.
and that was me because of my beard. If you
Yep.
just black and white and look like Santa Claus, that's bald, of course. But yeah, and I was like, I can't help that. There's nothing I could do.
Yep.
Thanks
That's the
for
way
being
it
real
is.
for us.
Yeah. Got to be honest. Don't want us to. Just looking out for you.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We're ready to kind of get into it.
Kyle, well, let's start off here with a new segment.
Ah,
Let's bring this to the table here. We're gonna call this one the "Brace Yourself" segment.
okay,
So,
okay.
kind
What is
of,
this?
kind of just going forward, this is going to be a segment that can happen at random times. Like we'll announce it today, just so we can give our viewers and listeners an opportunity to understand kind of what it is. The goal of this segment is to just for us to ask each other an awkward question, and you can't dodge it, you can't run away from it. Answer it, no filter. First thing that comes to mind. And I got one for you, and I'm going to take it easy on you. And
Okay.
I don't expect you to do the same.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
but
And
as we ease into this new segment,
I'll start off with an easy question. So you're saying anytime we say, okay, brace yourself, that means we have to stop what we're doing and answer that question honestly.
yeah, and we could
Love
be in
it.
the middle of a deep theological conversation, and if I say brace yourself, you better be ready.
Brace yourself. All right. Love it. Go for it.
So brace yourself, Kyle. This one's going to be hard for you. I feel like this will mean a lot to you.
Okay.
Um, all right. Would you rather
Okay.
wear wet socks and shoes
Okay.
for a whole week, can't take them off,
Yeah.
or never be able to wear khaki pants again? Shorts are included, pants are included. For those of you guys that don't know, Kyle is a big khaki guy. I mean, nobody. He's
It's khaki
listen.
cargos. Khaki
If
cargos.
you're wondering who keeps him in business, it's probably Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, I do wear some kind of cargo khaki pants
Mm-hmm.
or shorts year round. I mean, I'm talking, I preach in big church with cargo pants on. All right. Now they're
Don't you
usually
have the
black.
pants that can convert to shorts?
I
You
have
have.
those too.
Yep.
Those are harder to find.
Yep.
All right.
Hmm.
They stopped making those a lot. So, but I put my wallets in there. So here's the thing. I would rather wear wet socks and shoes for a week if I didn't have to wear like cargo and khaki pants, right? Cargo pants, particularly, because my wallet. Okay, I'll just show you this. We're being real. This is my wallet.
Oh man,
Look how thick that is.
yeah, there's a lot of podcast money in there. I see.
It's free cards from grocery stores, and I probably still have my Blockbuster card in there.
Yep.
Um, but I put it on the side of my pants because if I put it in the back of my pocket, I sit like this, and my back starts to hurt. So yeah, I know it's stupid. I know it's weird. I would wear wet socks for a week.
Gross. I couldn't do
So
it.
so I got two questions for you.
Okay.
Super easy. The first one is the easiest one. Um, how long and why do people call you Big Mike? Where did it
So
start?
started my sophomore year of high school. And this is like, believe it or not, before that I was kind of an introvert, and I kind of
Okay.
just kept to myself. I hated school, hate being around people. Go home and play Xbox. That was kind of my thing.
Okay.
And so, I can't tell you which teacher. I think it was either my band director in high school or an English teacher I had. Shout out Mr. Justice. Uh, and so I know for sure, like Mr. Justice was a serious teacher. I mean, it was an English class, and we had to write cursive.
Mm,
Like we handwrote all of our papers, and they had to be in cursive, right?
okay.
Helped me out a ton, low key. People hated it, but I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like I kind of get it. Anyway, I think one time he called me Big Mike, and people were like, huh, you
Okay.
know,
So
least
sophomore in high
expected.
school, just Big
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah. And my band director definitely took it and ran. Uh, and so that's been
So let
uh,
me ask you this:
10 years.
how,
That's the
how
crazy thing
big
for
were
me.
you in sophomore year?
I mean,
It had anything to do with
six.
your physical route or not?
I mean, six, probably 6'2", 6'3", like 270,
Okay.
260, like
Okay. Okay.
uh,
You
and
would
so
have beaten me up in high school. I could have fit in your pocket in high school. Okay.
I mean, sure. I mean, I don't know that I would have been able to beat you up, but
Okay. And it
it may have
stuck.
seemed that way.
You
Yeah,
never
it just
fought it.
no. I mean, why would you?
Okay.
Right? Like, it's on the back of my car. So if you ever see a car in the United States of America that says Big Mike on the back of it,
This is
there's a
true.
99.9% chance it's me.
Okay. Yeah, this is true. All right. Okay. That was the easy one. Second one is what's the most awkward text you have ever sent?
Gosh, yeah, dude. I This is awesome. This is right off the top of my head.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we don't know these questions. I didn't know what your questions were.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
this is funny, and this was definitely awkward.
I knew
We
you would have a gem.
this automatic. I remember when my wife Rebecca and I we were kind of in this like talking stage, but it was awkward
Okay.
because I had
So
just
kind of,
gotten out of a
you're
relationship.
not quite dating, but you're talking. Okay.
Like I hadn't been out of this relationship long enough to be like we can officially date now. And so
Gotcha.
you're trying to like I'm also trying to figure out if she actually likes me because
Okay.
you gotta like feel all that out.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't
I
know.
just remember one night during break we were having this conversation over text, and we were getting to that point in the conversation where we're talking about us, and I was just like, you know what, like I'm going for it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, hey, like
Okay.
let's talk about this. I send this long text that's just like, I think we should have this conversation. Of course, she was doing a youth retreat in a nearby town at our with our college,
Okay.
and so this was like 11 o'clock at night. This is when you have those conversations, right? And I text her back this long paragraph. I don't even remember what I said, and I just hear nothing.
No,
And that's like the
you just go
worst
like, I'm gonna
fear.
put it all out there and crickets.
Yep. And then I just went to bed with anxiety, because it's like, what do you do? And I woke up the next morning and she did text me back, but it was awkward for a long time. I mean, that's for
Okay,
that
so
kind
you
of
didn't bomb
conversation.
her with other texts. You just set it out there and you just put nothing.
I left it on
That's
the
actually
table.
wise. It would been
Uh,
even more awkward if you just like 40 texts later. You're calling
yeah,
me.
it's weird. You're like, we're not even dating. You said I love you. That's weird. That didn't happen, by the way.
Oh,
But
okay, okay.
no, yeah, no,
Okay.
not me. And so yeah, that's probably the most awkward. Maybe not the most awkward text, but definitely the most awkward text conversation in
And
recent memory for
and you
sure.
were basically shooting your shot. You're like, "Hey, this is me and I'm just seeing if you're interested." Did she eventually talk back or respond back?
Yeah, she responded. She's like, we can kind of talk about it or whatever when we get back to school.
But what happened? Like why with the waiting?
Uh, Crazy enough, she was having an allergic reaction. Right? Like I had no idea she didn't have Benadryl, and like her throat was closing, and so like
What?
she was legitimately just trying to like figure out how to live.
Yeah,
And
the
I was
last thing
sitting
she
there
wants is to
worried about
respond
if
back
she
to this
liked me or
crazy
not.
guy.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, Big
crazy.
Mike, I'm indisposed.
Sorry, I might die. So maybe if I wasn't dying, but as of right
Uh,
now,
okay. Okay.
uh,
Yeah. And I'm telling you that's an awkward text, but also a pretty good one because if you would have bugged her, you might not have dated her and then eventually married her because she'd be
yeah.
like, "I'm dying here, and all he wants to do is talk."
And you
Yeah,
know what, Kyle, I would have never met you.
that's true. Yeah,
So,
that.
uh,
Shout out to Rebecca.
yep.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Thank you
not
for bringing us
dying.
together.
Yep, we appreciate you on this.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your honesty. Thanks for bracing yourself.
Yeah,
Good job.
yeah, that's the brace yourself segment. So if you see that in future episodes, if you just hear us say brace yourselves, that's what we're doing.
Being
Like I
real.
said, that can happen at any time, and we just want to catch each other off guard and have a few laughs, but also, yeah,
Yeah.
get those honest answers.
Very
So,
nice.
our episode today, we are focusing on this idea of should we do youth ministry on Sunday nights? Should we do youth ministry on Wednesday nights? Right?
Mhm.
Or is there another day of the week? Maybe like is there
Yeah.
something that kind of works better? I mean, I don't know about you. I've seen people do Sundays and Wednesdays. I think are the two most popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree.
I was asked this past week why we don't do it on Thursdays, and I'm just like,
Okay.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of different reasons, and of course we'll kind of dive into that, and I will say I think Kyle programming is always kind of like a delicate balance. You know, you may enter a youth pastor spot or a youth leader spot to where historically maybe they always did Wednesday, right? Because
Yeah.
that's probably historically accurate. And you might think it is a better idea to do Sundays or Tuesdays or Mondays, whatever the case may be. Um, you know, Obviously, Kyle, I think knowing you, you've probably done some research on this.
Yeah. I
You're a
have some
big
experience.
statistics and that kind of guy. Um, and I want to preface with like this isn't about what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
If those of you guys don't know, Kyle and I have two way different ministry cultures. Like
Yeah.
the towns that we live in,
Yep.
the environments that
Churches,
we're in, completely
sizes,
different. Like
leadership. Yeah.
nothing's the same. And so Kyle's not right and I'm wrong. It's actually I'm right and Kyle's wrong. And so
Yeah. Okay,
No.
brace yourself. No, just
Oh dang. Yeah. Don't worry. All right, I have to watch myself a little bit.
kidding.
But we want to make whatever you decide to do, whether it's in a position that you're in now or whether you're looking into going into youth ministry. That's all a decision that we have to make based on our culture, our environment, um, and at the end of the day, I think it's about what's most effective, what's going to be most sustainable, and what is going to bring the most discipleship through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And and so really if you haven't thought about this before, because what I've noticed with working with youth workers is you just inherit what the previous youth worker or the previous church did, and you're just like, okay, it's always been on Wednesdays. Okay, move forward. So for me, I've actually done many years where it's Wednesday nights, many years where it's Sunday nights. I did a 3 month period when it was Friday nights. It hugely failed, but there are churches I
Sure.
know that have done a Friday night. What stopped it was football season. No one was to show up.
Yep.
So, uh, so this is more about having you think about what's best for your local church context. So it might work great on Wednesday nights, and it's always been Wednesday nights, and you don't need to change. But have you ever thought is, okay, we need to change? Because here's the awkward part. When you realize that there's a better opportunity, so maybe you move from Wednesday nights to Sunday nights or Sunday nights to Wednesday nights, then you have to get the parents involved, you have to get the church involved, you have to open up the church, coordinate with kids ministry. There's a lot of
Mhm.
other awkward conversations that need to happen, and a lot of people are like, well, it's not worth it. Or some youth workers don't even try because they think, oh, we've always done this, no one's even going to consider
Right.
changing. So these are this episode is for the people who are like, we might want to change but we don't know why.
Sure.
So this is kind of, here's some positive and negative or pros and cons when it comes to Wednesday night programming and Sunday night programming. And Mike, you said the popular ones are Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. It's true. So what we're noticing is most people historically had a Wednesday night youth group. It was
Yep.
a midweek thing, but they also had families, kids ministry, family dinner hour, all of that on Wednesday nights. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, churches started, hey, there's Sunday nights here.
Mhm.
And I think part of it is because culture changed in the United States, and Wednesday nights was no longer considered sacred or reverent, coinciding with churches. And the other thing we're noticing is there are a trend to do maybe Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Sunday afternoons, but those are so few and far in between. That's why we're just focusing on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights.
Sure.
The only other third option is during your weekend worship services. So the bigger churches, we're talking the mega churches that have,
Mhm.
I don't know, 15 campuses. They would do maybe a Saturday evening worship service, and in that Saturday evening, you would have youth group coinciding with
Yeah.
the adult worship service. That's
Sure.
probably the new trend, but majority of churches aren't that way.
Mhm.
So let's start about pro and con, and we'll start Wednesday nights. So for
Sure.
Mike, you actually have youth group on Wednesday nights, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. What is like one pro that you know and you think of Wednesday nights as a pro for you?
Sure. And once again, we preface with it's all context
Right.
given. I'm in a small town
Okay.
where everybody plays the same. Like everybody plays every sport.
Uh,
Everybody does everything. So for me, uh, a pro for me for Wednesday night is that I can open up the doors at 5 o'clock, and
oh,
all of our students can come right after practice straight to youth group.
okay.
Right? Some of them will, go home and shower if they
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to or whatever.
Thank
But it
God.
opens up that opportunity, right? Yes, it opens up that opportunity for them to kind of not skip out on that. Which, I know it's easy to do. Where if you're going and doing stuff, it's easier to go on to the next thing
Yep.
compared to if you get to go home, sit on your comfy couch or your bed, turn on your Xbox. There's a good chance you're not coming back, and
Yeah.
of course, and
Okay.
with that, is just not everybody has vehicles or lives in town, and so the high school and middle school is about 2 or 3 blocks.
Ah, okay.
So um, they can walk and be done with practice. They can get here at 5:30, get their snack, go hang out with their friends, and we move on with our night.
Okay. Yeah, I would totally agree. A couple others pros for Wednesday night programming is this natural midweek rhythm, as in you have church on the weekends, usually Sunday mornings, and then you go 3 or 4 days, and then church again, 3 or 4 days, then church, then 3 or 4 days.
Right.
So it's a natural rhythm. If you do it on Sunday nights, it's all in one day of the week, and then you don't see each
Sure.
other in church setting for 7 more days. Yeah.
Well, and I think another pro as we're kind of talking about it, um, I think there is something to be said about the momentum that can be built on a Wednesday morning at school. Hey, are you
Okay.
going to youth group tonight?
Yes.
Oh, you aren't? Oh, let's rethink that,
Yeah. That's a pro is,
or
hey, come tonight,
you
inviting.
can build that momentum the
Yeah.
day of, uh,
Right, right. You can
surprisingly.
invite that night, which is not, hey, in 3 days, could you come back to a church and
Yeah,
hang out?
sure.
Yeah, let's just go together right afterwards. And like you
Mhm.
open up at 5, so they can come right together with their friends after practice.
Yep.
Yeah, right, exactly. So there's a natural rhythm. I think there's a predictable routine,
Yeah.
particularly in the smaller rural communities that Wednesday nights are somewhat blocked off,
Mhm.
especially if the church and the schools have a pretty good relationship. I know a lot
Mhm.
of smaller towns, like they won't even bother programming heavy practices or games on Wednesday nights. Like they
Sure.
just keep that sacred.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, urban and suburbia cities and areas, that no longer is as sacred. Maybe around the Bible Belt, but more and more communities are moving away from Wednesday nights is youth group night. And part of it is true is there's less students going to youth group now
Mhm.
than there was in the 90s.
Sure.
So some of that's just reality, and some of that is our calendars being so full with everything else, band, drama, sports, that schools will have to do Wednesday nights. Otherwise, there's no other times.
Sure. And I will say that is starting, at least in my context, that is starting to bleed over.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
it is a
our, our
slow fade.
I respect this a lot actually. Our school district's very big about not overlapping activities, because they want everybody to be able to attend all the games, all the support your friends.
Right,
And
right.
I think that's a great thing. Unfortunately, when Wednesday is the only open night of the week, we do run into band concerts on Wednesdays or
Yep,
plays on Wednesdays
yep,
or
yep.
uh,
Opening night sometimes even.
I mean, they're not so much the sports, but it's
Yeah,
the other activities that they have to find a day,
yeah.
and
Because Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are sports. Yeah.
and so um,
So, and that's kind of where we're transitioning from the pros to cons. Is it depends on your context. If your context
sure.
still keeps Wednesday nights revered, then great. Then that's a pro. If it's not, then you're competing with other things.
Sure.
I would say a con, and again, we're not against Wednesday nights or against Sunday nights,
Sure.
but we want you to kind of think about a few things. So I'll add a con to it, and then if you have another one, Mike.
Mhm.
But I would say right now, um, due to like we talked about, there's competition to programming and football players and um, and sports, and you said dramas. Here's what you don't really think about. On Wednesday nights, you're actually limited with time. Now, you are
Yeah.
pretty rare that you opened up at 5 p.m. When does your youth group start?
So we'll officially start at kind of 6:30s when we move
Yeah.
into actual programming.
So from 5 o'clock to 6:30, what percentage of your students hang out majority of the time in there?
So we will get the occasional starting at 5. We'd probably get about a solid, I mean, 5 or 10%.
Okay.
5:30 hits, we'll probably get another 25. Six
Okay.
o'clock hits, we usually get about the rest. We have a pretty
Okay.
good idea of what our night's looking like at about 6 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah. So that helps. I would say there's a lot. You do you have kids ministry that meet at the same time on Wednesday nights?
So it gets a little tricky. We used to meet. They start at 6:30 also, but they are not given the same option to
Right.
come at 5 o'clock,
Right.
for various reasons. And so,
That's a lot of programming.
sometimes that does mean that we end up with grade schoolers downstairs with us for 30
Ah,
minutes if they're if they're a sibling, right? Like,
siblings. Okay.
which, by the way, love them. It is a con, right? Youth group
Yes.
students don't want their siblings downstairs I mean, our youth room is in the church basement. That's why I say downstairs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They don't want their young siblings downstairs with them at youth group. They want an opportunity to break away and be with their friends. Like, it's embarrassing sometimes for them, I think.
yeah. And that is awkward because there are sometimes we have a special youth room separate from our kids area.
Mhm.
And we open up 30 minutes before our youth group of where people can come. And yes, there's a lot, particularly fourth and fifth graders whose older siblings are now in middle school. So they're going to come in and they kind of sneak in. And then I
Yeah.
have to awkwardly say, okay, if you're not in middle school, you got to get out.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, and it it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I get it how it's disappointing.
Mhm.
They got video games and they got snacks,
Yeah.
and well,
Sure.
they have to go back to Legos. Like nothing wrong with Legos, it's just different. So
Yeah.
here's so kids ministry and that coordination is negative. What I've also found in working with many youth workers is there's a limited time. So not everyone can open up their doors at 5 p.m. or
Right.
they're willing. And a lot of people they only have from 6:30 to 8. I know a youth group who's 6:45 to 8. That's it. So they have an hour and 15 minutes and they try to do worship and lesson and small groups all in an hour and 15 minutes. And he's like, it doesn't feel that any of it's good because we just feel rushed in everything.
Yeah.
And so that's the downside of Wednesday nights. You are pretty cramped with available time because you can't go earlier and try
Mhm.
to start at 5 o'clock because sports, school, work,
Yeah.
even. So that's a downside of Wednesday nights.
Yeah. And I ran into that when I first started in my position here. We'd start at 6:30 and start with like 15 minutes of hangout,
Yep.
and we would go 6:45 to 8 o'clock. And I think even at the very beginning, we would technically go 6:30 to 7:45 because
Wow.
that was the children's ministry schedule.
Yes, that's a negative.
And
Negative. We love
I
kids
just
ministry, but it's a negative.
we weren't able to really do small groups.
Right?
We would barely be able to fit in any game. I mean, if I took an extra 5 minutes on the lesson, our whole schedule, like, we would just be in a rough spot. We would feel rushed, and
Yeah.
you could feel that energy around the room. Where we're just kind of going on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing,
Yeah.
uh, and
And so you're cutting off something, whether a lesson, whether it's a worship song, whether
yep,
it's small groups, just to make time. And it's because you have to coincide with kids, even kids' schedules, as in kids start first Wednesday in September, maybe gets over second Wednesday in December, and you want to have a Christmas party. Nope, you can't because kids' ministry has already ended. So
yeah,
it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just the reality that you are limited with your creativity and your
for
time
sure.
on Wednesday nights that other nights of the week you don't necessarily have to because kids ministry. I have one more con. This is we're gonna have the no judgment zone. That might be another segment, but I'm gonna say this no judgment zone. I know a lot of good, wonderful youth workers who only start preparing for youth group on Wednesdays. Like they do
Yeah,
everything in one day. So I'm going to prepare my lesson. I'll choose the songs and write the small
sure.
group questions, and then we'll do it. So your Wednesday's locked in. And if you have a snow day or you have an emergency on that Wednesday, sometimes it doesn't get prepared.
Mhm.
Sunday nights, you can prepare. Most people don't work on Sundays, like preparing for lesson on Sundays, so you have to work
Yeah,
ahead. So if your personality is you work ahead, like for me, I get most things done on Thursdays. So by
mhm.
Thursday, small group lesson, um, the the Bible lesson, everything is done on Thursdays because I work
Yeah,
ahead, and then I have 2 days to think about it, or sometimes I change it or practice it, and it's not feel rushed. That doesn't
yeah.
mean people can't do on Mondays, but usually if you're on Wednesdays, people just like, okay, this is my youth group day.
Well,
What's
for
your thoughts on
sure.
that?
And I 100% agree. I can catch myself in that position for sure. For me personally, I tend to do the Monday, Tuesday, get everything ready, double check it on Wednesday, and roll with it.
Okay.
And just once again, given my context, Thursdays and Fridays for me are usually admin for the whole church and cleaning for the whole church. So,
Okay.
you kind of have to. It also feels weird to plan Wednesday on Thursday and Friday when you don't have Saturday, Sunday,
Yes.
Monday, and Tuesday. That's 4 days.
Yes.
You're just
Yeah.
like,
And we
by
just
that
got
point,
done with it. Yeah.
yeah, it turns into a big snowball effect, I think. And so I try to at least take Mondays and Tuesdays. And guess what? something happens at the church, it may not happen on Monday, and then Tuesdays are really crazy, right? And
Yeah,
once again, as you if you've kind of mentioned, something happens early on in the week. Wednesdays, they can take a hit,
right.
um, due to lack of preparation on my end, right? And so I'm using me as an example because it's easiest.
Yeah. No, yeah, I get that. And for me, the years that I was on a Wednesday night, and I still have some programming on Wednesday night, um, whenever I had an intern, I was like, okay, it's Monday. Let's start thinking about Wednesday nights. And they had a hard time even motivating themselves because they're like they didn't have that rush. They weren't natural procrastinators, but they're just like, oh yeah. And so it just took a little bit longer. But for
Sure.
whatever reason, if it's on a Sunday, they know I don't want to work on on a Friday,
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah, for sure. You
So it's
want to enjoy
motivated.
your weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you.
so that's kind of Wednesday nights. If things are going well, no, here's the thing. You can't necessarily base it on feelings and you can't necessarily base it on attendance. Ask yourself, and we'll talk at the end of this episode, what are some good evaluating questions on if you should do some programming. But if the attendance are going well and it feels good, then maybe you don't need to change it. Maybe. But if those two things are still going well, but you're noticing, man, we're just not getting anything in small group time, we're not actually connecting as deeper as we thought. They love the
Yeah.
fun, but they're not necessarily even friends with each other, or the adult leaders don't necessarily have the time to connect as they want or should, then that might be something maybe we need to do some program changes.
Yeah.
And maybe we can do a whole nother episode of how we do the
Yeah.
program changes. This is just more motivating. Should we change it? So let's kind of switch gears and talk about Sundays. Now, have you ever had a youth group or youth group experience, whether you growing up or leading it, outside of Wednesday nights, Mike?
Yeah, my only experience that would be when I was an intern with you.
Okay.
That was my first Sunday night experience.
And you're
Yeah,
not going to insult me. So this maybe brace
no.
yourself. But what what was different? Like, was it a big change for you, or was it like, man, that was hard or good? What did you feel?
uh, I think, you know, in your context, you guys do middle school on Wednesdays.
Right.
You guys do high school on Sundays, and
Right.
so part of me really enjoyed that,
Okay.
because it's not crazy and chaotic every single time you meet. I mean, like high schoolers are not middle schoolers.
You mix them together,
We
it's different breed. Yeah.
It's way different. Um, and there is something I really do appreciate about being able to do that. And once again, we'll talk about splitting up our groups
In
in
a different episode for sure.
different
That's coming
episodes.
up.
But something that I appreciated during that time is that we got a separate time with the high school group, and
Mhm.
they take it more seriously. They're more locked in,
Yeah.
and they ask more of those deeper questions, which is where, for me, I really enjoyed. Now, it was more work for sure, and it was exhausting.
Yeah.
Uh, Preparing a lesson for a Sunday night was, I caught myself, my weekend was like, I hope this is good.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I would just constantly look over it and just be like, okay. And I had the time to do that, which was, but once again, it was my
Yeah,
time
that's
off
before you were
also.
married too.
uh, and so obviously there are things I appreciated and things that, once again, it was hard. Not something I was used to. But I think all in all, as I look back at that time, I see the benefit in that, once again, and it fits the culture that your church has and that
Yeah,
your town has, which is it was a great thing.
when I first came to my church, actually, we met on Wednesday nights. And what happened was middle school met at the church because there was only one youth room, so we couldn't
Yep.
do middle school and high school combined. Um, and high schoolers actually met in people's homes. And so we had a freshman home and a sophomore home and junior and
Mhm.
senior. So they had four separate homes. And there was some good in that. But what I found was it actually came across as four separate youth groups.
Yeah.
And sometimes the students did not see each other unless they went to camp once a year or
Yeah.
a winter camp. So
Mhm.
twice a year they saw each other in mixed grades. And so it felt four separate youth groups. And I couldn't be at all four locations. So I could only meet with one grade once a month. and it was
Yeah.
super awkward because it would be like 3 to 4 weeks that I would see a student on a Wednesday night. So
Sure.
we we mix that up, and some people that's awesome, that works great for you, but in my context it didn't necessarily work. So when we're talking about Sundays, we're talking about Sunday nights. There are a
Yep.
lot of churches who don't do Wednesday nights or Sunday nights, and they just do services. So think of the huge I think Saddleback churches, the churches that have
Mhm.
20,000 people. They might
Yeah.
have 3 or 4 youth services during the adult services on the weekend, so Saturdays and Sunday mornings. But we're not talking about that, we're just talking about Sunday nights.
Yep.
Pros and cons. What's a pro that you could think of, Mike, that for Sunday nights?
I mean, I think Sunday nights there, other than you know, other than travel ball,
Yes.
there's really not much going on. Um, it's
Right.
usually probably the only night of the week that they have free.
I I've only found sometimes travel ball and they don't even play games. They're just driving back from the games.
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
only sport that I have found is if you're really good at volleyball, you tend to have finals Sunday afternoon. But
Hmm.
that's rare and not a lot of teams are making it to the finals.
Yeah. No, for sure. And there's that's kind of their I want to say their day off. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
it,
okay.
it kind of depends, but like as far as if they're playing a sport or two and they have homework and they have school, Sundays are probably the only day where they're like able to really kick back and relax, whatever that looks
Yeah.
like
Right.
for them. So
Yeah.
hopefully they have their homework done, by that point, of course. But
But
I
when we
think,
moved, yeah, that was a big thing is when we
yeah,
moved from Wednesday nights to Sunday nights, I talked to many families in this whole process and they're like, "Oh, what are we going to do with homework?" And I was like, "Well, you have all day Saturday and you have Friday night. We can't do homework on Friday night." I go, "Okay, well then you also have Sunday afternoons."
yeah,
But Wednesday nights, it's either you do it Sunday afternoon before youth, or sorry, Wednesday afternoon before youth group or after youth group, and now you're at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
yeah. If you
Wednesdays
haven't even
is
ate dinner
hard.
yet.
Yeah, right. You have 4 things to do on Wednesday nights, and you can only do 3 of them. Sundays, you don't have that afternoon competition.
Yeah,
So you can do something, homework, whatever. You know what I usually do on a Sunday? I take a nap.
there you
I
go.
know I'm old now. It's wonderful to Sunday night. I eat a nice big thick Sunday dinner, and then take a nap, sleep off the food coma, wake up, I'm refreshed, ready to go for youth group. That's like my Sunday routine. I like look forward to it.
Is that like a like on the couch or in a recliner kind of a
No,
nap, or like
no,
I'm going to bed?
it's a nice
Or,
comfy bed, nice comfy
wow,
bed on there. Yeah, I turn on the heater sometimes, and
yeah,
oh yeah, it's awesome.
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, and I think once again, I think there is something to be said about Sunday is a big church day. Obviously,
Yes.
Sunday is a church day, and so when you can block out the day for church,
Yeah.
right, you have 6 other days to do whatever you want,
Yeah, they're in that
like
mindset. Yeah.
sports, homework, family events. Families are probably more willing to respect Sunday
Ah.
afternoon, Sunday evening, more than they're willing to respect a Wednesday night.
Yeah, just like a
My
holy day.
experience. I mean, just as
Yeah.
far as hey, you're able to go do something.
Right.
You're talking once again. If they have homework on a Wednesday, there's a chance that their parents aren't letting them come to youth group.
Yeah.
Uh, if they have homework on Sunday, there still is a small chance that they can do that before youth group and they can come, right?
Yeah.
They can their parents allow them to be here. And so I think the idea of blocking off Sunday as a whole church day is really appealing to families, especially busy families.
Yeah. Right. I totally agree. This it's just this part of the culture. That's a good
Mhm.
and bad thing, but mostly
Yeah.
good is that yeah, it's normal church day. The other thing for me, I would say Wednesday nights, I'm always a big time thing. So Wednesday nights, it's crunched with time, but Sundays, man, there's very few competition, and so you have it longer. So here's what our youth group does, and we're almost 10 years doing this. At 5:30, we have a meal. So from 5:30 to 6 is a free optional meal. And people and most I would say 90% of the people come during that meal and eat.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock, we start youth group. At 7:30, so we have an hour and a half of programming. That's game, worship, lesson. At 7:30, we have small groups, and small groups officially end at 8:30, but some groups end freshman boys 30 minutes. They're good. Senior
Yeah.
girls a whole hour.
Yeah.
So really, we have youth showing up from 5:30 to 8:30. That's 3 hours. That's unheard of in most other youth groups
Oh,
I
for
get to.
sure. Hmm.
But man, it nothing feels rushed. If you go over 5 minutes in your lesson because you want to have a response time, an altar call, or time of prayer, there's
Yeah.
not like, nope, okay, well, we can't do small groups because that's cut off.
Right.
And we could do it earlier because no one is coming from something. The other thing is why we moved to what, Sunday nights, and this is weird, is at the time we had 20 students working at Chick-fil-A. So we chose Sunday
Awesome.
nights
That's
because
great.
Chick-fil-A is off and 20 students work, and no one could say, well, I got work. Nope, you do not got work.
Nope.
We don't have 20 students now, but that at the time when we made that decision 10 years ago,
Yeah.
that was the big frame, the big reason why. I also think energy levels on Sunday nights seem a little bit different. You have
Yeah.
8 hours of school, okay, on Wednesdays, and then maybe practice, and then you have youth group. And so middle schoolers have always struggled for me to do, okay, school, then more school, just a Bible school now, and then you have small groups.
Right.
Um, Sunday nights, you don't have that exhaustion. People are sometimes hanging out, they spend time with the family, work,
Mhm.
sleep, and then Sunday there just feels a little more fresh. On the back end, people a little bit, oh, I got to get ready for the school, and they start mentoring, preparing for Monday morning, but that doesn't seem that. So there's a less, I don't know,
Sure.
stress, I don't know, energy level. I don't know what else to call it.
No,
Would you call it
no,
something different?
it's I mean it's mental strain. I
There you
mean,
go.
you can only take in so much information in a day.
Yes.
School comes first. We can't have youth group at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We can't be the first ones out
Right.
there.
And
And
my
so
ADHD, I'm just like, wait, what?
yeah, for sure. And I think and I hate this for my students. And there's a reason why we still do Wednesdays and not Sundays.
Yeah.
But a lot of my students and course students, like people students I've poured a lot of time into, and that um, they will show up on Wednesdays and they are exhausted,
Uh,
and they are just like, hey, I'm really trying to lock in, but like we just ran an hour during practice, and they haven't really been home to eat, and now they're here at youth group for 2 more hours, and
yeah.
that's where their mind is. I mean, they're just like they're exhausted, they're beat, they're shot. Um, and your brain can only handle so much, and then you add on the physical aspect of that, of just being tired in general. Maybe you went to bed late, or you had to
Yeah.
wake up early. That ruins your rhythm.
Right.
So middle schoolers, I don't really see this usually being a huge problem.
They're just so full of
They,
energy
they,
anyway.
they have so much energy. When you get to the high school,
Yes.
they're exhausted. They have so much going on, that and I just make sure to tell them, like, hey, I see that you're tired, and I see the effort that you are putting in to be here, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Good.
that's kind of the approach. But once again, that is, as we talk about, this is a pro for Sunday and a con for Wednesday. Is that, yeah, 100%. The energy levels are going to be completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. Switch into some cons for Sunday nights because there is some. There's
Sure.
this narrative, and I don't know. I don't have data on it. I don't have like reality that Sunday nights is family time, and that was our biggest pushback when we moved to Sunday nights for high school. We're like, oh, but that's when we usually eat families. And so I actually did a survey, and I said, okay, out of 1 month, how many times does your family eat supper together on Sunday nights
Yeah.
with everyone there? And it was 0.9%, zero point 0.9, so less than one time a month. But
Yeah.
there was that idea that no, we need to all come back on Sunday nights. So family
Yeah.
time is a con that you might have to be in competition with that to some families and some
Sure.
um, and I think it's harder now than it was years ago. What I mean by that is family time. Family time was more important, or at least prioritized years
Yeah.
ago.
More of an
Now,
emphasis.
not
Yeah.
so much, right? And I would also say, and the one thing I didn't realize that's a negative for Sunday nights is if you live far away. So you live far away and you go to church Sunday morning and then you have to come back Sunday night. So we actually lost some families. They just stopped going to youth group simply because they had 45-minute drive for church in the morning then they didn't want to drive 45 minutes back, and that was like
Right.
4 hours in one day of traveling. So that is a
Just,
negative.
yeah, by the time you leave church and get lunch,
Right.
it's almost time to turn back around,
And
you
some people
know.
stay in town all day, but they didn't necessarily have a location. So yeah.
Right. So you got you're putting busyness into a schedule you really don't need to. I mean,
Yeah. And I
or that you wouldn't otherwise, I
right.
guess is
And we talked
how I
about
should
this
say that.
earlier. I would say it's harder to invite friends on a Sunday night if you're not already connected with them through technology. So,
Yeah.
on Friday, hey, come to my church. When is it? Oh, it's Sunday night. And so you don't have their phone number, and you're like, okay, how do I get a hold of them and invite them?
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it's harder. It doesn't mean it's impossible, just harder than Wednesdays. It's harder if students don't drive. So I would never, and maybe this is just me, never put middle schoolers on Sunday nights. The
Yeah.
rides situation alone, where parents have to drive them,
Sure.
drop them off, then go grocery shopping or something, then
Mhm.
come back and pick them up. That was really hard. But they'll do that for Wednesday nights for kids ministry because a lot of them they have Bible studies on Wednesday nights, something like that.
Yeah. There's something offered for them, and not only the parents in these situations. Like, let's just think about our volunteers.
Yeah.
And so if you are watching us or listening to this, and you are a youth group volunteer, you will 100% understand this. You know, if you work 5 days a week,
Yep.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday are your 2 days off, and you
Yeah.
might work overtime on Saturday. And so it's hard to be
Showing
able
up on
to
a Sunday.
say
Yeah.
it's Sunday night. It's
Yeah.
my only time that I might get with my family to do something together. I'm tired. It's my time to relax. Um, just even the childcare situation, because if kids ministries on Wednesdays, are you where are your smaller children going to go? They
Yeah.
can't really come to youth group. I mean,
Right.
in my experience, if it needs to happen, listen, we'll figure it out, But it's always another thing to kind of worry about.
Where's my little kids going to go because I'm
Mhm.
volunteering in student ministry? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's probably some negative and positive for both Wednesday nights and Sunday nights that we haven't mentioned, and love to hear from all of you. I don't think you can say, okay, Sunday nights are just going to be better, or Wednesday nights are just going to be better. It's going to be in your
Yeah.
context. I know that feels like a cop out, but it needs to be said. But
Yeah.
here's what I would recommend: overall experience. What I have found, if you have the availability of splitting your youth group into two, so middle school and high school, and you need to have at least 15 in each before I think you should have that conversation.
Yeah. For sure.
I would say Wednesday nights tend to be better for middle school students. They can handle the long hours, the goofiness,
Mhm.
especially if you have some fun elements to that Wednesday nights, and it's easier to coordinate with the parents. Sunday
Right.
nights tend to be better for high schoolers because it's more casual, it's longer, and they're more willing to or available to drive themselves.
Sure.
And so I would say if you can do that and you don't need it on the same night, like right now, our youth group can't be on the same night. We don't have the space.
Yeah.
So middle school and Wednesday nights using the same building as high school. That's what I would recommend, but everything is different. So we're wrapping up here. Mike and I wanted to kind of share, okay, well, how do we know when to start that conversation? Like, okay, how do we decide between Sunday and Wednesday nights? So we just have a few questions to kind of go for. I'll ask
Yeah.
the first question, and then Mike will ask the second, and we're just kind of saying, okay, ask you, your team, your leadership these questions to see what works. So the first one is, What's what is actually competing for your time? If you've never thought about your youth group's time, your students'
Yeah.
time, what is actually competing with them? Are you helping or hurting their time? What I mean is the students who actually go to youth group, or sorry, the students who actually miss youth group, why are they missing? Oh, I have work or I have sports. Then that means that's your competition, work and sports. If they're
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, I'm tired, it's not really fun," that's a totally different conversation. That's not a night of the week problem. But if
Sure.
they're missing because of work and sports, that might be a night of the week. What's your competition each night, and then like what when you're fighting culture, or do you want to flow with it? What will work best? So that's the first question is what's actually competing for your time? That's the first
Sure.
question to ask.
Well, and I think this goes into is like, who are you prioritizing?
Yeah.
Um, you know, if you're doing your group together all at the same time, uh,
Yeah.
you know, are you really prioritize, if you're meeting on Wednesdays, are you able to really prioritize your high school students who are exhausted and don't have a brain capacity, right? Or, if you meet on Sundays, are you really giving your middle school students a chance to even be there?
Yeah.
And so that's where you have to have that conversation. Do we split them up and do different nights of the week? Or, if I am going to do just Sundays or just Wednesdays, what are ways I can prioritize both groups? Because the ultimate reality is one of those grade levels are going to take a small hit minimum.
Yes. When you combine it. Yes. Yeah. Third question. Can you get everything done in time with your current programming? Now, this is hard. Um, man, I'm compromising on small groups every single week because the worship goes over or the lesson goes over. And so our small group questions tend to be fluff, or we only get 3 or 4 done
Yeah,
before we got to move on. That might be saying we might need to rethink how we do programming, and which means we might need to change the day of the week. Is there a better time, a different day of the week? And that could mean Monday nights, Tuesday nights. I think that is available,
right.
but it's pretty rare because our culture has this natural flow of Sundays and Wednesdays.
Sure. Yeah. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is, do you have the space for both middle school and high school?
Yeah, okay.
Right. Um, we meet once again in a church basement, which we have quite a bit of room,
Okay.
but um, there are definitely times where we would be pushing for a
The,
party, we would be pushing 70 or 80.
yeah, that max limit.
I mean, and you're just sitting here just like, and it's exciting, like, and it feels good, but it limits what you're kind of able to do, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the decision that you have to make as far as whether you're going to do Sunday or Wednesday or both. Space is a huge um, thing in that. You don't want to just meet. You don't want to separate your groups in a giant space because then it feels tiny,
Yeah.
right? Like, and if you have a smaller space, it might be better to kind of, once again, keep everybody together. Uh, or if you have a bigger space, I mean, if you have a smaller space, you kind of have that opportunity to break it apart, and um, you know, it still feels good. You still
Yeah.
feel that momentum, and so you got to make sure that you have the space to whatever you decide, whether it's Sundays or Wednesdays. You have to decide, what does my space allow?
Yeah. So let's wrap up with, we're calling this the awkward truth. And I'm
Yeah.
going to say the awkward truth that nobody likes. That's kind of to wrap up. If you start having these conversations and if you start deciding to move things, here's 3 realities. One, switching nights will upset someone. Don't
Always.
bother thinking that I'm going to make this and everyone's going to be on board. They're not. You have to realize switching will upset someone. That doesn't mean if it says, if switching nights upsets everyone, you might need to rethink it, but
Yeah,
just
for
reality
sure.
someone. Two,
Yep.
attendance may dip before it grows.
Yep.
Don't think you switch to nights, everything's going to work out and attendance dip or attendance grows. For me, it took about 3 to 4 months, like a semester, before I
Yeah.
noticed, oh, people are on trusting it,
I mean,
they're on board, they're trying it.
and you're reworking somebody's whole schedule, a whole
Yes.
weekly schedule. You're taking them out of
Yes.
their routine and flipping it onto its head.
And number three, faithfulness matters more than nostalgia. A lot of people don't like to change, not because they're against the change, they're just
Mhm.
against change.
Yeah.
And they grew up in youth group on Wednesday nights. My child should have youth group Wednesday nights because that's how I was discipled. That's what my
Sure.
youth group was. And so people are more locked into nostalgia. But man, you have to make a decision what's best for the discipleship and impact of your students and your church. So faithfulness matters more than nostalgia. Those are the 3 truths that are awkward, but you need to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. And Kyle, those are all good. And we would like to hear from you guys. Do you have your programming on Wednesday night? Do you have it on Sunday night? Do you have it on another day of the week? Do you do multiple days of the week?
Yeah, Saturday
Let us.
mornings at 6 a.m.
Yes, that's the goal there. Let us know on our Instagram post. Let us know what you do. You can find us on Instagram at the ETA podcast.
Yeah.
I'd spell it out for you, but I'm not able to do that. So at the ETA, I can spell that part out.
Yeah.
Podcast. Give us a follow. Let us know. Yeah, let us know what you're doing on Wednesday nights. Let us know what you're doing on Sunday nights. whatever your programming looks like, we'd love to hear from you and just kind of see what everybody's doing. I know different cultures, different experiences can determine that, and so it'd be good to hear from you on that. And so, as always, we appreciate you guys watching or listening. Thanks for being our friend. We'll see you next time.
Bye.